In an instant, everything goes dark. No power, no internet, no answers. Chaos creeps in. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie. This is what happened in Spain and Portugal on April 28, 25, when millions were plunged into darkness. Was it just a technical glitch? A failure of the green energy grid? Or something far more sinister? A cyber attack designed to cripple entire nations? Welcome to a story of invisible threats, digital warfare, and the terrifying question, could hackers cause the next great blackout? Let's set the scene. On April 28, 2025, a massive power outage swept through Spain, Portugal, and parts of southern France. For hours, cities like Lisbon, Madrid, and Seville were plunged into darkness. Trains ground to a halt, leaving passengers stranded. Traffic lights went offline, causing gridlock. Restaurants turned away customers, accepting only cash. Hospitals scrambled to keep critical systems running on backup generators. In Spain alone, 4 people lost their lives indirectly. Carbon monoxide poisoning from makeshift heating, a deadly fire sparked by candles. The official explanation? A dramatic loss of power generation in southwest Spain, possibly tied to a dip in solar energy. But here's where it gets murky. A Portuguese minister hinted at a possible cyber attack. While early investigations ruled it out,
Spain's electrical provider Red Electrica said a very strong oscillation in the network had cut off Spain's grid from the rest of continental Europe, leading to the system's collapse. Getting both countries back online was a gradual process because of the risk of overloading the network yet again.
The speculation lingers, and for good reason, because in the world of cybercrime, power grids are prime targets. Let's rewind to understand why. Electricity is the lifeblood of modern society. It powers our homes, our hospitals, our economies. But the systems that deliver this power, our electrical grids, are no longer just wires and transformers. They're digital, controlled by complex software, connected to the internet, and increasingly vulnerable. These systems rely on something called SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. It's the brain behind the grid, monitoring and managing everything from power plants to substations. But here's the problem. SCADA systems weren't built with cybersecurity in mind. Many are outdated, running on software from the 90s or early 2000s, with vulnerabilities hackers can exploit, like an open door. Now, picture a hacker thousands of miles away, sitting at a keyboard. With a few lines of code, they could infiltrate a power company's network, manipulate SCADA systems, and shut down entire regions. Sound like science fiction? It's not. It's already happened. Let's travel back to December 23, 2015, in Ukraine.
Nearly 250,000 people lost power in this small Ukrainian city when it was targeted by a suspected Russian attack last December. Vasil Pemchuk is the electric control center manager and told us when hackers took over their computers, all his workers could do was film it with their cell phones.
On that freezing winter night, 700,000 people across western Ukraine lost power. Homes went dark. Heaters stopped. Businesses shut down. At first, it seemed like a technical failure, but then the truth emerged. This was no accident. It was a cyber attack, one of the first of its kind. The culprits? A group of hackers, widely believed to be state-sponsored, used a malware called Black Energy to infiltrate Ukraine's power grid. They targeted 3 regional energy companies, gaining access through a simple but devastating tactic: phishing emails. An employee clicked on a malicious link, and the hackers were in. Once inside, they moved silently, mapping the network, stealing credentials, and planting malware. Black Energy gave them control over the SCADA systems. They remotely opened circuit breakers, cutting power to hundreds of thousands. But they didn't stop there. They deployed another piece of malware, Kill Disk, to wipe critical systems, making recovery even harder. To add insult to injury, they launched a denial-of-service attack on the power company's call centers, so customers couldn't even report the outage. It was a masterclass in digital destruction. The Ukraine attack wasn't just a wake-up call. It was a warning shot. It proved that hackers could target critical infrastructure and cause real-world chaos. And it wasn't a one-off. In 2009, A massive blackout hit Brazil and Paraguay, affecting 60 million people.
Brazil had blackouts before, but the scale of this is extraordinary. This affected pretty much almost the southern half of Brazil, according to one report, an estimated 50 million people.
Cities like Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro went dark. At the time, officials blamed a storm, but years later, evidence surfaced suggesting a cyber attack on the Itapu Dam's control systems may have played a role. The details remain classified, but the message is clear. Power grids are vulnerable, and hackers know it. So, let's bring it back to April 2025. The Spain-Portugal blackout didn't just disrupt lives, it opened the door for cybercrime. Within hours, phishing emails started circulating, pretending to be from TAP Air Portugal, the country's flagship airline. These emails claim passengers affected by the outage could claim refunds, but there was a catch. They asked for personal details like names, addresses, and credit card numbers. Classic phishing. The blackout created the perfect storm: confusion, fear, and a distracted public. Cybercriminals thrive in these moments, exploiting chaos to steal data or spread malware. Even if the blackout itself wasn't caused by a cyber attack, it showed how vulnerable we are when the lights go out. But could a cyber attack actually cause a blackout of that scale? Let's break it down. Power grids are complex, interconnected systems. In Europe, for instance, the grid spans multiple countries, from Portugal to Poland. If one part fails, it can trigger a cascade, like dominoes falling. That's exactly what happened in 2006, when a single faulty line in Germany caused outages across 9 countries. Now, imagine a hacker targeting that weak link. They don't need to blow up a power plant, they just need to manipulate the software that controls it. A well-placed piece of malware could overload transformers, shut down substations, or disrupt the delicate balance of supply and demand. And here's where it gets scarier. The tools to do this are already out there. Malware like black energy isn't some rare, custom-built weapon. It's been found on the dark web, available to anyone with enough Bitcoin and bad intentions. Then there's ransomware, which has evolved from locking personal computers to targeting entire organizations. In 2021, the Colonial Pipeline in the United States was hit by a ransomware attack that disrupted fuel supplies for days.
Nearly a week after a ransomware attack forced Colonial Pipeline to shut down operations, the company announced on Thursday that it had restored service to its entire pipeline system. The shutdown disrupted gas supplies along the East Coast and caused panic buying, leaving some gas stations without fuel. A full recovery may still take several days. The attack also highlighted the vulnerability of the country's infrastructure to similar attacks.
If hackers can shut down a pipeline, what's stopping them from targeting a power grid? In fact, reports from cybersecurity firms like CrowdStrike show a rise in ransomware attacks on energy companies, with groups like DarkSide and REvil leading the charge. Let's talk about how these attacks happen. Most start with a simple mistake. An employee opens an email, clicks a link, or downloads an attachment. That's all it takes. From there, hackers use techniques like privilege escalation to gain deeper access, moving from a low-level employee's account to the heart of the network. Once inside, they can deploy malware to manipulate systems or steal data. For power grids, the goal might be to disrupt operations, say by opening circuit breakers or falsifying data to cause overloads. Or they might hold the system hostage, demanding millions in cryptocurrency to restore control. In 2023, a Danish energy company was hit by a ransomware attack that disrupted wind turbine operations. The damage was contained, but it showed how even renewable energy systems are at risk. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Could we face a massive global blackout caused by a cyber attack? The short answer is yes. It's possible. Power grids are more connected than ever, especially in regions like Europe, where countries share a synchronized grid. A targeted attack on a critical node, say a major substation in Germany or a control center in France, could ripple across borders. Cybersecurity experts call this a cascading failure. In 2021, a report by the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, ENISA, warned that the growing complexity of smart grids increases the risk. Smart grids, which rely on IoT devices to optimize energy flow, are a double-edged sword. They're efficient but packed with vulnerabilities. A hacker could exploit a single connected device, like a smart meter, to gain a foothold. And it's not just about technical vulnerabilities. Geopolitical tensions make power grids a prime target. Think about it. In a world of hybrid warfare, where nations fight with both bullets and bytes, shutting down a country's power is a devastating move. Look at Ukraine again.
The hackers sent emails with infected attachments to power company employees, stealing their login credentials and then taking control of the grid systems to cut the circuit breakers at nearly 60 substations. The suspected motive for the attack is the war in eastern Ukraine, where Russian-backed separatists are fighting against Ukrainian government forces.
The 2015 attack was widely attributed to Russia, part of a broader campaign of cyber attacks during the conflict. Fast forward to 2025, and tensions haven't exactly cooled. From Russia-Ukraine to Middle Eastern conflicts like Hamas-Israel, state-sponsored hackers are more active than ever. A post on X recently speculated that a major blackout could be a digital Pearl Harbor, a coordinated attack to destabilize entire regions. While that might sound alarmist, it's not far-fetched. And there's the human factor. During the Spain-Portugal blackout, phishing emails exploited the chaos. But what if those emails weren't just stealing data? What if they were delivering malware designed to infiltrate energy companies? It's not hard to imagine. In 2020, a ransomware attack on a German hospital disabled critical systems, indirectly leading to a patient's death. If hackers can disrupt a hospital, they can disrupt a power grid. And the stakes are higher. A prolonged blackout could cripple economies, halt transportation, and endanger lives. In Spain, the 4 deaths were a tragic reminder of how quickly things can spiral. So, what's being done to stop this? Governments and energy companies aren't sitting still. In the Netherlands, the National Cybersecurity Center advises citizens to prepare for outages with emergency kits, food, water, and candles for at least 72 hours. The EU is investing billions in cybersecurity for critical infrastructure, with programs like the Cyber Resilience Act to secure IoT devices. Energy companies are running penetration tests, simulating cyber attacks to find weak spots. But here's the hard truth. The attackers are often one step ahead. Cybersecurity is a cat-and-mouse game, and the mice are getting smarter. Let's talk prevention. If you're an energy company, step 1 is locking down your network. That means segmenting systems so a breach in one area doesn't spread. It means training employees to spot phishing emails, no clicking on that urgent refund link. It means updating SCADA systems, even if it's costly. For governments, it's about international cooperation. Cybercrime doesn't respect borders, and neither do power grids. The EU's interconnected grid is a strength, but also a liability. A weak link in one country can bring down the whole system. But what about us, the average person? You might think a power grid hack is someone else's problem, but it's not. If the lights go out, you're affected, and cyber criminals will exploit the chaos. Those phishing emails after the Spain blackout, they targeted regular people, not just companies. So, here's your takeaway. Be skeptical. Don't click links in unsolicited emails, especially after a major event like a blackout. Use two-factor authentication on your accounts. And maybe, just maybe, keep a flashlight and some batteries handy. Now, let's look to the future. Could a cyber attack cause a global blackout? Not global in the sense of the entire planet, but a large-scale, multi-country blackout? Absolutely. The tools exist, the motive exists, and the vulnerabilities are real. Imagine a scenario where hackers combine ransomware with a physical attack, say cutting power to a major city while demanding millions in Bitcoin. Or picture a state-sponsored attack during a geopolitical crisis, targeting multiple grids at once. A 2023 report by the World Economic Forum estimated that a major cyber attack on critical infrastructure could cost the global economy $250 billion. That's not just numbers, that's jobs lost, hospitals offline, and lives at risk. But here's the chilling part. The next generation of cyber attacks could be even worse. Artificial intelligence is already being used by cybercriminals to automate attacks. AI can craft phishing emails that look scarily legitimate, tailored to your habits. It can scan networks for vulnerabilities faster than any human. And then there's quantum computing, still in its infancy, but poised to break encryption methods that protect our grids. On the flip side, defenders are using AI too to detect threats and respond faster. It's an arms race, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Let's circle back to April 2025. The Spain-Portugal blackout wasn't officially linked to a cyber attack, but it exposed the cracks in our systems. It showed how a single failure, whether technical, natural, or malicious, can cascade. It showed how cybercriminals pounce on chaos, using phishing to exploit the vulnerable. And it raised a question we can't ignore. Are we ready for a world where hackers can turn off the lights? As I speak, cybersecurity teams across the globe are working to secure our grids, but the threat is evolving. Every new device, every smart meter, every solar panel adds a potential entry point for hackers. The question isn't just whether a cyber attack could cause a blackout, it's when. And when it happens, will we be ready? Or will we be left in the dark, scrambling for answers while the world around us grinds to a halt? This is why we dive into cybercrime. Because it's not just about stolen passwords or hacked bank accounts. It's about the systems we rely on every day. Systems that, if they fail, could change everything. So, what do you think? Could hackers pull off the next great blackout? Have you ever been caught in a power outage or targeted by phishing after a crisis? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay ahead of the digital threats, hit that subscribe button and join us for the next deep dive into the world of cybercrime. Until then, stay vigilant and maybe keep a flashlight nearby.